Welcome to Professor Dr. Grace's graphic class. Please watch the ad until the end so you can receive better content. In this tutorial, I will show you how to work with text with the type tool with related panels. Text is divided into point text and paragraph text. Point text refers to text consisting of short words. To type point text, select the Type tool, click on the Alt board, and type the desired word. Paragraphs are longer sentences than words. When you click and type like point text, they are typed very long in the right direction, so they are harder to read and difficult to make layout. To solve this problem, when typing paragraph text, select the Type tool, click and drag on the Alt board to draw a text box of the desired size, and then type the desired paragraphs in the text box. There are two types of fonts, sans serif and serif. Sans means no, and serif means a thin decorative line. In other words, sans serif is a typeface without thin decorative lines. But serif fonts have thin decorative lines. Now, let's see how to use the Type tool to type point text and paragraph text, and use the related panels. Select the Type tool. Click on the Alt board and type Adobe Illustrator. Highlight the text you just typed and select Font Area. Font style black. Font size 72 point from the control panel. Click at the end of the text. Hold down Alt, press the number 0169 on numpad on the keyboard to add the copyright mark. Open a web browser and type lipsum.com in the URL input box. Click the Generate Lorem Ipsum button at the bottom of the web page. Lorem Ipsum is a simple combination of spelling that looks like a sentence, but has no meaning and is free to use because it has no copyright. Highlight the Lorem Ipsum text, then press Ctrl+C to copy it. Return to Illustrator. Select the Type tool. Click and drag the artboard to draw a text box the size you want. Press Ctrl+V to paste the copied text. Click the Window menu and select Type, Character, or press the shortcut key Ctrl+T. The control panel also provides basic text options, but the character panel gives you more options. Press Ctrl+A to select the entire text. In the character panel, select Set the Font Family Arial, set the font style regular, and then select Set the font size 14 point. After highlighting text, if you press the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+Shift less than or Ctrl+Shift greater than, you can resize characters smaller or larger by 2 points without using the control panel or the character panel. The red plus icon in the lower right corner of the text box means that there is hidden text that is not visible in the text box. If you adjust the bounding box of the text box to show all hidden text, the red plus icon will disappear. If you adjust the bounding box of the text will be rearranged to fit the space of the changed text box without any change in the size of the text. On the other hand, if you adjust the bounding box of Adobe Illustrator, which is point text, you will see that the shape is distorted by changing the size and proportion of the text. Press Ctrl G to cancel the distortion. Highlight the title text, Adobe Illustrator copyright mark. Then select the color you want in the swatches panel. Leading means the space between sentences. The leading spacing is automatically set to the most appropriate space based on the font size, but you can adjust it to be narrower or wider than the default. Press Ctrl A to highlight the entire paragraph text. In the character panel, if you select a set the leading value that is larger or smaller than the current value, you can make the leading spacing wider or narrower. Press the shortcut key Alt down arrow or Alt up arrow to adjust the leading spacing by 2 points. In the character panel, select Set the Leading Auto. Kerning is a typography terminology for controlling the space between letters. You don't have to care about the kerning spacing in the sentence, but the spacing between letters is very important in a logo design made up of short words or letters. When we type a letter, the computer program automatically provides the appropriate space. In English, because the letters themselves have different surrounding spaces, the spacing between spelling and spelling may sometimes look wider or narrower than the space between other spellings and spelling. In this case, you need to adjust the kerning to change the spacing between spelling and spelling. Click between A and D in the title. If you select -100 and set the kerning between two characters, you will see that the spacing becomes narrower. And if you select 100, you will see that the spacing becomes wider. Click on the Set the Kerning between two characters drop-down button again. Selecting Auto applies automatic letter spacing. Selecting Optical applies visually appropriate letter spacing. And Matrix Roman only applies mathematically appropriate letter spacing that can only be applied to Roman characters. Click between the letters and press the kerning control shortcut Ctrl-Shift left bracket or Ctrl-Shift right bracket to make them narrower or wider by 20 points. You can make it narrower or wider by 100 points by pressing Ctrl-Alt left arrow or Ctrl-Alt right arrow. Tracking is a typography terminology for controlling the spacing between selected letters. Highlight Illustrator in the title. If we select -50 and set the tracking for the selected characters, you will see that the letter spacing becomes narrower. And if you select 50, you will see that the letter spacing becomes wider. After selecting the letters, press the tracking control shortcut key, Ctrl-Shift left bracket or Ctrl-Shift right bracket to make them narrower or wider by 20 points. And press Ctrl-Alt left arrow or Ctrl-Alt right arrow to make them narrower or wider by 100 points. The kerning and the tracking control shortcut keys use the same shortcut keys, but you can adjust the kerning by clicking between the letter and pressing the shortcut keys, and the tracking by highlighting the letters and pressing the shortcut keys. Highlight I and select vertical scale 200%. You see that the spelling is deformed vertically long. Highlight A and select horizontal scale 200%. You see that the spelling is deformed horizontally wide. Illustrator offers the options to distort the letters, bold horizontally or thin vertically. But I recommend using the proportions of the original typeface. And if you have to inevitably adjust them, I recommend that you make very small variations. Press Ctrl G to cancel the distortion. Set the baseline shift is to shift the baseline of the selected character. In the case of the copyright mark, it is usually located above the baseline. Highlight the copyright mark C. Select -12 point for set the baseline shift to move 12 point below the baseline, or 12 point to move 12 point above the baseline. You can move the baseline up or down by 2 points by pressing Shift-Alt up arrow or Shift-Alt down arrow, the shortcut key for set the baseline shift. Highlight the title Illustrator. In character rotation, select -45 or 45, respectively, to see how the letters rotate. Highlight the first sentence. Clicking all caps changes all letters to uppercase, and clicking all caps again returns them to normal. Clicking small caps changes all lowercase letters to small-sized capital letters, keeping the original capital letters, and clicking small caps again returns them to normal. Click at the end of the first sentence and type 1. Highlight 1 and click superscript to make it smaller and move it up from the baseline, and click subscript to move it down from the baseline. Click subscript again to return to the original state. Highlight the second sentence. Click underline to add an underline below the text. Click underline again to return to the original. Click strike through to add a line in the middle of the text, and click strike through to return to the original. Aliasing means rough edges of the letters, and anti-aliasing makes the letters clean and sharp. Select the text of Adobe Illustrator, and then click the Set the Anti-Aliasing Method drop-down button. Characters typed in Illustrator looks sharp because sharp is selected by default. If you select none in Set the Anti-Aliasing Method, you will see the text being rough. Select Crisp, Strong, and Sharp to see how the letters change. Click the Paragraph Panel tab. Highlight the entire paragraphs. Illustrator offers 7 paragraph alignment options. The default paragraph alignment is Align Left, which aligns paragraph to the left. Click Align Center to center all sentences. Clicking Align Right aligns all sentences to the right. Clicking Justify with the last line aligned left aligns all sentences to the left and right of the text box and aligns only the last line of each sentence to the left. Clicking Justify with the last line aligned center aligns all sentences to the left and right of the text box and centers only the last line of each sentence. Clicking Justify with the last line aligned right aligns all sentences to the left and right of the text box and aligns only the last line of each sentence to the right. Clicking Justify all lines forces the entire sentence to the left and right of the text box. This is not a good paragraph alignment option because it forces all lines, even the last line of each sentence with a short text length to be justified, creating a problem in space. The paragraph alignment options used so far also have shortcuts. press Ctrl-Shift-L to align the paragraph to the left. Press Ctrl-Shift-C to align the paragraph to the center. And press Ctrl-Shift-R to align the paragraph to the right. Pressing Ctrl-Shift-F forces all paragraphs, including the last line of each sentence, to the left and right of the text box. Pressing Ctrl-Shift-J aligns all sentences to the left and right of the text box, and only the last line of each sentence to the left. Select the text box. If you type 30 point for left indent, you will indent 30 point from the left side of the text box. If you type 30 point for right indent, you will indent 30 point from the right side of the text box. Press Ctrl-G to cancel indenting the sentences. If you type 30 point in first line left indent, only the first line of each sentence is indented 30 point from the left of the text box. Press Ctrl-G to cancel indenting the sentences. Typing 10 point in the space before paragraph adds 10 point of space before the paragraph. Typing 10 point in the space after paragraph adds 10 point space after the paragraph. Press Ctrl-G to cancel adding space. Select the text box. You see some hyphens. If you want to remove the hyphens, uncheck Hyphenate. Because options you apply in the character and paragraph panels affect the following texts, it is recommended that you make panel options the default after you apply the required options. Now let's see how to change the case. After selecting the first text box, select Type, Change Case, Uppercase to change all letters to uppercase. After selecting the second text box, select Type, Change Case, Lowercase to change all letters to lowercase. After selecting the third text box, select Type, Change Case, Title Case. The first letters of every word are changed to the title case, which is uppercase, and the remaining letters are lowercase. After selecting the first text box, select Type, Change Case, Sentence Case to change the first letter of each sentence to the uppercase and the remaining letters to the lowercase. Select the text on the right. After selecting the eyedropper tool, click on the left text to duplicate the left text with attributes such as size, color, font, alignment, rotation, angle, etc. So far, I have showed in detail how to use the Type tool, a basic text input tool, and the options on the related panels for text. Please memorize the text-related shortcuts you learned in this tutorial and use them effectively to work with text. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for watching Professor Dr. Grace's Illustrator lecture. Please watch the next video in order to follow all the courses without skipping a lesson. To keep learning and master Illustrator, please press the subscribe and the like buttons.